Welcome back to another episode of Meta, ladies and gentlemen. In this episode, we're going to talk about the Avalon way. You see that when you understand the basics of finances, when you understand how public markets work, when you understand how companies work, when you understand that at the end of the day, it's fun to do things in a team, then you start thinking about what is the best way to actually go out and build interesting things. And that we're going to cover in this video with the Avalon way. So as you can see, our way is pretty simple. It's the scientific way. It's you experiment, you observe, and then you repeat, right? So we're a company that's working towards building rapid leveraged, utilized across multiple industries and domains. So we don't stay in one industry. We stay in multiple different industries. Wherever we think we can understand the rules and work with it and build something new, we think that's cool, right? We think that's, so wherever we think we can add value, we come in, we build a good solution, we help people, we create great customer experiences, and we try to build lasting brands. We don't make up any rules. We rather, choose to learn from experimentation. Hence the word labs, the labs part of our name, although a lot of people just know us as Avalon. They don't use the word labs, but we like the word labs because it helps us, it kind of reminds us that we are experimenters at heart. Experimentation, observation, and repetition is the only technique that works for us. So what happens is somebody comes up with an idea for a business, somebody internal. We are now a 55-man company, but somebody internally comes up with an idea for a business. We run a cheap experiment. Usually it's a small advertisement with a creative that, kind of figures out if somebody wants to buy something. If we get a good audience response, then we build out a full product and commit more money. Usually we build a community around this. And you've seen us do this with the Meta Startup platform, right? We ran a cheap experiment with the Meta Startup, idea, and we got a great audience response. So we said, hey, let's build out a full product. Let's commit more money. Let's build a community around this, right? And if it works, we permanently keep the leverage from the success. So even 10 years later, the Meta platform, the Meta Startup platform is going to be useful because, we've gone out and built something that we already know works. On the other hand, if the audience is not responding, then we throw away the idea and we just learn from our mistakes, right? It's a simple process of elimination. And as you can see, this is a fairly emotionless plan, right? But in the real world, obviously emotions get in the way. People, value their ideas a lot, especially people doing things for the first time. So I kind of want to show you how the Avalon way applies to you. You come up with some idea. We'll call it a hypothesis. You run a cheap experiment or tell people about something you're about to build. If the audience responds well, then you build out a full solution and commit more of your money and time. If it doesn't work, you throw away the idea and learn from your mistakes. And obviously, if it works, you permanently keep the leverage from that success. So if you apply this to me personally, when I wrote the book Pajama Profit, it was a small experiment. I asked a few people, they said, hey, this is a good idea. And then I went out, wrote 2 chapters, showed it to a few people. They said, yeah, you should continue writing this. And then when I wrote out the entire book, I committed some time and money to it, put it out there, it got published. And today, even though I have nothing to do with the book anymore, I permanently keep the leverage and the credibility that the book has built for me. And you can do a lot of things like this. You can go out and write a research paper if you're in the scientific fields. You can go out and do a decent sized survey. You can go out and stand for something. You can go out and, create a campaign for something. You can go out and do a Kickstarter. There are many, many things you can do that originally start as small experiments. In fact, every big company or every big institution today has actually been built on small and simple ideas, right? So small and simple ideas cannot be discounted, but you have to test them to figure out what the audience will respond to and what the audience won't. So what is science, right? And we keep talking about science. Science is not a rigid textbook, right? I remember somebody recently telling me, Varun, why do you believe in science, right? You should just learn from nature. And I'm like, dude, science is the study of nature. When something happens in nature, we try to understand what is the causer and what is the effect, what caused something and what the effect of that thing was. And we just write it down in a book, right? It's just basically something that all of us agree on. So many, many years in the past, when the first human ever felt static electricity, he didn't know what to call it. He or she didn't know what to call it. But, sometime in the future, a bunch of people got together and they all said, look, we're all feeling this tingling thing when we come in contact with, wool. What do we call it? And they all agreed to call it static electricity, right? And now because we wrote that down, we wrote about its properties that apply to all of us, we are now able to manipulate it. And, obviously we've made huge strides as a civilization when it comes to electricity. It all started with all of us agreeing on something, right? So experimentation, observation, and repetition, the core tenets of science. The sample size is important. When we ask one person and they give their idea of things, it might not be representative of what everybody thinks. My mom might think that me starting a pet store is a good idea, but a lot of people might not think that's a good idea. So what we try to do, especially when we run advertisements, is we try to get to at least 1,000 or 2,000 people and see what they think of something. Because at the end of the day, however smart we are, we cannot predict how an audience will behave to something. Commerce is the science of money and people, not a different branch that doesn't involve science. When we are young, we are segmented into science, arts, or commerce, and we think these are three different fields. But this is wrong, right? This is absolutely wrong. In fact, commerce is the science of money. Arts is actually the understanding of things, of the science of design, plus a little bit of creativity and ambiguity involved. But you could argue that a lot of things that have been discovered in science are accidents as well. Right? So they're all very interrelated. They're almost the same thing. It's just different ways of looking at it. And you shouldn't feel like just because you've studied commerce, you can't be a scientist. Everybody who works in the digital space today has to think like a scientist. Avalon is trying to rebrand science into something that you can do in a team. Right? Essentially, the experimentation, observation, repetition, it works well for life. We're doing it in a team because we like, working with each other, and we've built a large team now. It's just fun to do things with other people, right? We're social creatures. If something cannot be proved or reproduced, it is not worth pursuing, right? If you can run an experiment once but can't repeat it again, or if you can't disprove something. If I tell you I have a unicorn in my pocket and you say, no, you don't have a unicorn in my pocket, but I don't let you touch my pocket, so you can't actually run an experiment on that or prove me wrong, there's no point pursuing that. Right? So you just leave the things that you don't think you can prove, right? A lot of people, I used to tell people when I was much younger, when I was, I think 3 or 4 years out of college, I used to tell people, hey, I had this idea for Zomato, but they ended up building it before me. But then again, it's something that I never proved or disproved, right? So talking is easy, ideas are cheap, but experimenting and trying to, pull things off, that's where the real magic is. Right, so how do we run an experiment? And we'll go through all of this in a bit. We have an entire series on statistics, but we generally tend to have two different groups. One group that, we show our product or idea to, and the other group where it's absent. And we'll come across all of this, right? What is a cause? What is an effect? What is a confounding variable? How do you make sure things don't, we don't confuse correlation and causation? Now, to understand correlation and causation, you have to understand this little example, right? Germs cause bad smells. Now, to understand correlation and causation, you need to look at this little graph here. Germs cause bad smells. Germs also cause disease, right? So if you have germs on your body, you probably smell bad. If you have a disease, then you probably have germs. So germs directly cause both of these things. But assume you didn't know about the germs. Assume somebody just smells bad, right? You can't make the assumption that this person has a disease, even though they are correlated, right? They're correlated, but bad smell does not cause disease. It's just something that occurs at the same time as disease in certain conditions. You could have bad smell because you haven't had a bath in a week, right? That's possible too, but that doesn't mean you have a disease. Whereas if you have germs, then bad smells and disease are pretty much guaranteed. So in a lot of ways, this applies to the real world as well. You'll see a lot of people come out who've run an ad or run a business and say, my business failed because, the market wasn't big enough. My business failed because, my product wasn't ready in time. Many other of these excuses. But you don't know whether those excuses that these people are giving are because of correlation or causation. Is it just two things that happened coincidentally, or is it something that specifically caused an end result? Is it the fact that the market was big enough? Was that the actual causer behind the startup failing? Or was it just something that happened to be one of the reasons, or just along the way with the product failing or the company failing? And that is the fundamental idea of science. Did it happen by accident, or is it a very specific result of something? And you will see, especially when we do our statistics part of this course, how big a problem this can be. Because for many, many years, many, many centuries, humans attributed everything from storms to rains to this and that everything that they couldn't understand to a God. They just said, yeah, God did it. But over time, we're understanding what really caused something, right? So superstitious people, especially, if you grew up in an Indian household, my mother would always tell me not to cut my nails. He said, if you cut your nails, a robber will come in the night. A thief is going to come home in the night. But we all know that, maybe it might have happened once or twice to some random couple somewhere out there, and they took that correlation to mean causation, and they said, because I cut my nails, this thief came in, I'm never going to cut my nails in the evening again, right? So that's a correlation. It's not a causation. And if you run the experiment enough times, the correlations disappear, which is why I keep telling you an experiment needs to be reproducible. You need to be able to do it again. So just because these two events or properties are correlated does not mean one caused the other. Going to the hospital is positively correlated with dying, but it's obvious that going to the hospital does not cause you to die. The more firefighters at a fire is positively correlated with the amount of damage done to the building, but firefighters do not cause more damage by themselves, right? So very important to understand. The next thing which we kind of advocate is that you need to review things, right? So if you study something and you have a result, you need to show other people, right? Otherwise, you can get caught into thinking that the ideas and the results that you have are perfect, right? So we ask a lot of people to review the things that we do. And with Avalon, we try to get feedback, not just from our employees, but from the audience that we have, from people like you, because that's an important part of making sure something is right. So obviously, we're going to go through things like bias in the future, but so the only real way to undo bias is to experiment and fail live, right? Unfortunately, we can't be accurate about what our biases are and why we get biased in the first place. We're humans. Your brain is literally made to jump to conclusions for your survival. So unless we experiment and fail live, you can't really know what a real bias is and what is something you just picked up. Over time, you get better at figuring out what your biases are, and you also get very good at understanding people, their behavior, and their biases. Right? So we'll go through all of this in the statistics section, all of this in the self-development section of the Meta platform. So we're going to end this video with your first experiment, right? So just like any scientific paper, you're going to come up with a hypothesis. Say your hypothesis is the fact that I can sell 200 t-shirts through an e-commerce store within 1 month, right? A lot of people make this claim, I can start an e-commerce store or whatever. So let's start running your experiment. You set up the store and you run ads. That's the experiment design. Your sample size could be, 10,000 people or 20,000 people, right? But you need to run an ad. And today, running ads online, fairly cheap, right? Let's see how many orders you book. The expected result should be at least 200 sales. And what you do is to write an actual observation of the real result that you found after, say, 1 month of doing this, right? And the number one reason we advocate people to run ads today is you can actually quickly test what you believe in, right? You no longer need to go and meet 500,000 people in person to figure out if something is a good idea or not. You can run an ad through it. It's much cheaper. People don't mind spending on an Uber 300 rupees back and forth, but they will think 10 times about spending 300 rupees on Facebook ads, which just surprises me because you'd get a larger sample size doing it digitally, right? So, more on this later. We will go through all of this hypothesis testing. We'll go through statistics in the future episodes. But I just want to quickly tell you the Avalon way, which is to experiment, to observe, and repeat. And everything that we teach you on this platform, whether it be design or code, is all about experimentation, observation, and repetition. We just want to be the guide for you guys to do it. So thank you very much. See you on the next episode.